Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. A fast-moving whirlwind. That's how I'm describing recent events that have unfolded and ultimately seen the Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder fight fall apart, completely fall apart. And it's fallen apart at the 11th hour in the contract phase because the WBA, it's coming over the top, strong-armed Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua saying negotiations have simply taken too long. Joshua now must face his mandated challenger, Alexander Povetkin. So the WBA gave 24 hours for a deal to be made. And the implication of not doing that was Joshua could be potentially stripped of his WBA belt. Well, not potentially, he would have been. So as you can imagine, this turn of events, it's set the hounds racing, with Deontay Wilder erupting on social media, the respective promoters for Joshua and Wilder venting their spleens, and so too the respective fans. And I've seen it on many of my own comment sections. Videos from recent days, people have been going off their nut. So let's step through that. Let's get all the reaction. Well, a big part of the reaction from the players I've already mentioned. Get a handle of what's being said, who is pointing the finger at who, where does the blame lie. And this is not going to be something that I'm going to be saying. I'm going to just lay out the information from both sides and you can make your own mind up. But remember, this video is point in time. It's all moved so quickly. So Matchroom boss Eddie Hearn, via Matchroom's Twitter, he confirmed shortly after the WBA news that losing a belt is not an option. If it's Povetkin, it will be September for AJ, he said in a tweet, and then we fight Wilder if he signs the contract. AJ wants the fight, but there's not much more we can do at present. Deontay Wilder, some 12 hours after the news broke, saying on social media, "I knew I smelt pussy. But damn, at Anthony Joshua, I didn't know the odor was that strong, you coward ass bitch. Had the world waiting for 3 months playing games just for this moment. You're not a true champion. You're just a weak-minded coward that's holding hard metal. Hashtag facts." And there were a number of other social media posts that, on Twitter that were a similar sort of theme along that same vein. And he was making them in particular in different threads of other conversations that had been started by others. The most notable one, which I do want to touch on, was where boxing personality Brendan Schaub had made a comment, see on screen here, which then Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua's promoter, had weighed in on. So Schaub, he was saying Wilder had agreed to every demand, and Hearn refuted it by saying, no, he didn't. He didn't sign, and he didn't even come back with the comments. The back and forth continued, as you can see here on screen, and then Deontay Wilder, he wades in, saying, "Stop with the bullshit. We did it all. You didn't want this work. You scared infers. You talk shit but can't back nothing up. You coward, and now the people see the truth. I'm so happy it's over now. I've done my part. The world has seen that. So stay in England with that BS." Eddie Hearn responded in kind, saying, "You did it all, apart from none of the above, or sign the contract, or even respond to the contract." But Deontay Wilder, he was sort of weighing in a few times on this one, also saying, "Over here, we understand and can identify a coward-ass bitch. I knew I smelt pussy. Laughing my ass off. SMDH." I'm not exactly what that one stands for. "I'm so happy the bullshit is done. And P.S. Fuck your offer, bitch. We will have the last laugh. I promise you this." And at this juncture, I'd just say it's probably a massive understatement to say that temper's afraid right now, given everything that's sort of transpired in the last 24, 36 hours. And then you chuck in really what's been rolling on for 3 months now. So yeah, temper's very much frayed. And another guy from Team Wilder who's also hit out is Shelly Finkel, Wilder's co-manager, telling World Boxing News that the sanctioning bodies or the organisations recognise a unification over a mandatory. If you ask for an exception for a fight of this magnitude, I would highly doubt they would say no. The fact is, he never asked for an exception. Everyone knows it's best for boxing to make this fight, but Joshua and his team are obviously not interested in what the fans want. So Finkel continues by saying, "My team still believes he was never taking this fight. They say they want to fight us after Povetkin. But why should we believe that? Joshua said they would fight us next, and now he's fighting Povetkin instead. As far as we are concerned, they have shown they don't want this fight. We have bent every which way we could to make it happen, and it's obvious to a blind man they don't want it." In a separate WBN article, Finkel, he added, "He sent us a bullshit offer, thinking we'll never take it, and we took it. Then they said, what do we do now? Let's send them a contract. Except the contract doesn't have when the fight will be, where it will be. But today I got a letter saying, we're not going to fight you next, but we'll fight you the fight after that, and it will be April 13 at Wembley Stadium. So basically, he can tell me next year, but he can't tell me a date for this year." And then later, Finkel, he reveals the flat fee that Wilder agreed to was $15 million, and there was also a rematch clause. Eddie Hearn, he's reacted to the WBA developments, telling Sky Sports, "I think they've just said enough is enough. We need to know what you're doing. You're mandated to fight Alexander Povetkin, and I think Povetkin's people are getting extremely restless as well. They have been waiting, and to be fair to them, they've been patient. But WBA President Gilberto Mendoza has clearly decided enough is enough, and we've got to move." Joshua knows that Povetkin is an extremely tough fight. Deontay Wilder is another fight that he wants badly. We can't do a lot more than we're doing. I think Anthony is frustrated that people feel he may not want this fight. He wants that fight more than anything. We sent the contract 9 days ago. We're not even necessarily expecting a signed contract back. We just want your comments. If my fighter wanted a fight and we received a contract, I would be back with the comments within 24 hours. Nothing makes sense here at all. They emailed me on Sunday and said we would be back with our comments on Friday. Why do you need another 5 or 6 days? They know we're under pressure from the WBA and it all feels like a big game. To be honest with you, it's very, very frustrating. And in relation to a Joshua Povetkin fight, BoxingScene.com has reported, well, it says it's learned that Joshua's mandatory WBA title defense versus Povetkin will probably take place on September 22. The venue hasn't been determined yet. It goes on to say, regardless of where it takes place, streaming Joshua's next fight on DAZN would be a way to entice American boxing fans to subscribe to DAZN prior to its inaugural event. And DAZN, of course, it's a streaming service owned by Perform Group, and that's looking to break into America. Boxing is one of the sports that it's got some rights to. It's hoping to make inroads in America with boxing, and obviously like other sports down the line. If Anthony Joshua can get past Alexander Povetkin in September, Eddie Hearn says, then we fight Wilder straight after, if he signs a contract. But the way they are going at the moment, I can't tell you whether the contract gets signed in 10 days or 10 years. And I'll just note again, at the time of this video being published, there had been no public comment, public statement by Anthony Joshua on this evolving drama, big drama show. But it's fair to say it's all been a bit of a shambles. And like I've been saying for several weeks, both sides have been preparing their arguments to blame the other should this eventuality happen, if things went sideways. And it's gone sideways, the knives are out, everyone is pointing the finger. It's a massively disappointing situation. And now we're seemingly going to have Anthony Joshua facing Alexander Povetkin in September, and presumably Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale at some point as well. Not the fights that we actually want, but apparently the fights we will get. And I know there's some people who think this result, this outcome that we've had, it all falling apart, that this was always bound to happen. It was in the plan all along, that some of this was hype, and it was designed to build the fight, to build into something even bigger, get the fans turning on each other, baying for this fight to happen at some point, and get a bit of niggle in there. I don't know if I buy into that, but I mean, it's certainly a pretty decent narrative, and there are some, including Barry Hearn, who always wanted this next year. But I would have liked it next. I mean, we'll have to see what happens next, because there's no guarantee that either of these guys wins the next fight. It's boxing. Anything can and does happen. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. Boxing_squared. I'm out.